This podcast is brought to you by Place Pros, commercial and investment real estate, and NicoTour.boutique, your one-stop shop for everything cool.
Are we on? Cool. Kim, Somber Mercy. Good to see you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
How were your holidays?
They were good. They were chill.
Yeah.
Just very low key this year, which I kind of needed. So
Yes.
Yeah.
What have you been up to? I feel like I haven't caught up with you in about a year.
yeah, when we did the we definitely saw each other at the bikini sewing class, but there was the fashion walk over at Derek Gore's not too long ago.
Right.
I saw your clothing for sure, and I might have said hi, but it was like so quick.
I know those events are so fun and quick, and yeah, they happen in the blink of an eye. And I haven't seen you in months. What have you been up to?
So I have been really dialing everything kind of in with my music.
Okay.
Because I also do like a comic on the side, and I mean I've been helping.
What do you mean?
I do a webcomic. It's called E.T. Girl, and I've been doing that for about 4 years or so. So I drop one new graphic novel every year. I actually sell them over at Famous Faces.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I had no idea. Cool.
Yeah. So it's great, but it takes a lot of my free time, and
Absolutely.
it's like an ongoing saga where I've got another like at least 5 or 6 volumes.
Wow. Do you have like a following there?
Yeah, I have a pretty big following on Webtoons, over 100,000 views, and like I think about like 500 or so, a little more than 500 people who follow that one. So yeah.
Cool. Okay. What else?
So yeah, I've been working on building my website for Somber Mercy, because I kind of realized dividing my time between the art and the music was just not going to work so well. So this year I've made the tough decision, but it's also one I'm proud of, to be like, okay, I'm not going to spread myself too thin, and I'm going to just like save the comic for like next year, and I'm going to spend this whole year doing something I've never tried before, which is scary, which is like I'm just going to focus in on like the music. And I've also actually I'm in business with a friend of mine. It's called Aionic Media, and we're trying to do like like Groundswell, but for creatives specifically.
Really?
Yeah.
I just worked with Groundswell, so that's interesting. So tell me more about that.
So
it would just be a hub?
Yeah. Right now what we're doing is we're building websites. We're doing SEO, like media marketing. If people want to, like if a musician wants to be recorded, we can do mixing and mastering for them as well.
You'll have a studio in there?
Yeah, like we're gonna have our own separate studio, but he is currently my business partner. Well, I have 2, Mark and Josh. Josh actually does work with Groundswell right now, so he's been helping.
Are they supporting
him? Yeah. He's on as like a coach.
Oh, really?
Like he does the free business coaching.
Yeah.
That they provide.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Do you guys have like a brick and mortar?
We're working our way up to it. So as we're getting clients, because we just launched this like a month ago, then like we're gonna have the dream is that the physical space will be, it'll have different, like at least 3 different rooms.
Okay.
One where we do consultation for like I'm gonna help people with like brand discovery. I want to help like artists like figure out their like why they're doing what they're doing, and like develop like just basically build their branding out for like music and other creative ventures. And then I also want like a space where like they can film social media. Mm-hmm. So just something that's got a nice backdrop. They'll already have like a tripod set up. They'll have access to a bunch of social media tools, because like I really want to push the idea of like I want artists to be able to be artists, and to understand that content creation is a separate job. And while they do need to learn it, I don't want it to consume them, because a lot of artists feel like I can't keep up and I'm not a good artist if I'm not doing content creation well. And it's like, no, it's a separate job. Like it's okay if you're not good at it.
And then you need the ring light and the tripod. And for an artist, like that's $20, that's $40. Like
it adds up.
Yeah, it totally adds up. So you want to make like a warehouse, a place where they could just come in and it's all set for them. Is it just for musicians, or are you thinking
anyone
sort of art?
Yeah, anyone who's creative, they got creative ventures online. It doesn't just need to be creative. Like right now, a lot of the clients we're working with are like just people who need website, like regular people that need websites built, apps designed, anything to help push their.
Are you guys gonna do the social media?
We'll we have tools to help with it. So whether that's things like Facebook, like ad marketing campaigns, or SEO build-ups or anything like that. So yeah, we could. We're working on maybe like a package where we could like offer a membership where we do some level of it for people.
Yeah, or teach them the skill.
Yeah, I'm working on the courses where I'll teach people.
Really cool. Wow. Okay, you said there were 3 rooms. What's the third one?
One is consulting, the other one's for social media, and then the third one's going to be for the mixing and mastering. So like people have like it's like a studio where people can come in, they can record and get everything mixed and mastered.
Wow. So. And how did you meet those two?
So Josh I met last year at an open mic night here actually in downtown Nogales.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he do on the open mic?
Well, he came to check out other people when he saw me sing, and then he was like, hey, I was looking for a DJ at the time, and he's like, oh, I DJ and I have a studio that's right here in town, you want to go check it out? And I was like, wow. Yeah. So
Isn't
the universe,
that funny how that happens? I feel like that's kind of what happened with Jesse too.
Really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that when the universe just
puts you in the right place at the right time, or I don't know.
Yeah,
people gravitate to what they need.
Yeah, and then Mark kind of came along with Josh because he knew him. So I only met him recently. He's a really cool guy.
What's his capacity? Like, what is he doing?
He does like the music, the production side, and he also does the websites.
Oh, great.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, good luck on that. But you focus 2023 on the music.
Yeah. So I've decided to upgrade my gear. I'm going to have more music videos coming out. I'm working on at least 2 of them right now. The one I have for Palingenesis, which was a song I dropped last year, it's so, like, the footage is amazing.
Really?
We worked 6 months with a friend I have out in Orlando. Her name is Alexa. She's got a YouTube channel called Alexa the Great, and she just started her YouTube stuff, basically. And she was like, hey, I'd love to, like, work with you on a music video. And so I have all the footage from her. It's just a matter of like editing it together.
Putting it together, yeah.
And I'm so motivated because I'm like this. Like I look at it, I'm like, gosh, you got some killer footage.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, we're gonna get it done. And then I even played around with a new camera I just bought to try to see what I could do, like a simple video.
Yeah.
Because I do want to start growing my YouTube channel where I'm gonna like.
You have a YouTube channel?
I have 3 right
now.
You
have 3. All right, tell us what they are.
Okay. The one is Somber Mercy.
Okay.
The other one is called The Planet Streamer, and that's the one that encapsulates all of my, like I do how-tos and art and comic, like tutorials for, like, I talk about ET Girl, my comic in there, but I'm basically helping, like, artists and storytellers, like, make their own comics and stuff.
Okay.
And then my third one's, like, a fashion. It's, like, mainly Japanese street fashion and, like, my, like, you know, clothing hauls and cute
What is that
vlogs.
one called?
That one's called, Kimba Darling, I think, or no, I think it's just Kim Darling. Kimba Darling is my Instagram for it.
Darling. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I love when you make clothing. It's it's kind of amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. How much are you dedicating to that?
So right now, I was dividing my time between all 3 of these.
Yeah.
Right now, I've kind of honed in on, I'm going to just be focusing on my music channel.
Okay.
But I have lots of content already dropped on both of those channels. Mm-hmm. So if people want to check out the fashion side of things or things like that, basically once I get things up and running with my music one, I have content planned for the other channels. It's just a matter of like transitioning my time. Yeah.
Do it. Are you editing on your own?
I do. And actually it's a whole new venture right now because I just got a new computer and I've been using Windows Movie Maker.
I know you are.
Which was not like the best thing, but I got so attached to it.
Yeah.
And now I was like scared to make the leap, but I learned DaVinci Resolve recently.
Oh, good. That's what Jesse recommends.
Yeah, it's good. It's I'm so happy the learning curve. It's there, but it's not as tough as I thought it would be.
Yeah. No, I've even heard it in like the TV industry,
really,
which is kind of crazy because between like Avid and Final Cut, there was never a third one mentioned. So I'm eager to try it.
What do you use?
At work I use Avid.
Okay.
At home I might do like a subscription of like Final Cut. Yeah. But it just depends. I really want to try DaVinci. Yeah,
it's good. The tools are really like intuitive. You can just go really deep with the layer of tools.
Yeah. So. Ooh, fun. Okay. So just music.
I say just music, and then I'm like, well,
Right. Well, there's more.
yeah, I'm like, oh, I've been, I think that I've learned recently that mixing music with fashion is really where I want to go.
Yeah.
It was brought up to me a few times after I worked with Space Swap, and I realized actually that those things were tied. Allie, who runs Space Swap, had mentioned it a few times, and I was like, I really think if I put two and two together, I don't need to run them as separate endeavors.
Right.
So I want to build that out more this year. There's going to be some awesome things in the works. I don't want to spoil it, but that where I'm going to be combining fashion a little bit more with music.
Okay.
More than just
you do that anyway.
Yeah.
Can we look at some of your outfits? Like, they're all so cool. Are you making all of these? Like the one with the hands, I love.
Yeah, I can point out which ones I've made.
Okay.
Let's see.
Where are we? Oh, is this your
Oh, my stories. So early on, that was 2019. So that was
yeah, you look younger.
most of that was just stuff where I was putting together
Outfits.
Yeah.
When did you start making your own stuff?
I've technically been sewing for a long time, but I started making dresses specifically for music. That red dress that I'm wearing and that top one,
Yeah.
that's the first one that I made for for Somber Mercy.
Did you make the skirt?
That one I made the outfit underneath. If you scroll down, I can show you. There's like I usually
Like
take
stills.
of each one. So like
and
that
the blue one, yeah, you made that one, right? You did like a
Yeah.
whole tutorial, or
I did
you did a follow along, which I enjoyed.
I did it. It's funny. The reason why I did it was because I realized I get a lot of people who tell me, wow, you do a lot of things and you always seem to be hustling and you're so like amazing, and like they'll think that I'm like perfect almost, and I don't like that. Where I'm like, I don't think people understand like that I don't actually know what I'm doing sometimes. So
That's refreshing because I think when you put yourself out there, that's because I'm sure you're like me, like you're gonna notice all the flaws that are still in the garment, but all of us are like, wow, you know, like look at what she did, and she had time to record doing it. Like, it's just nice, and that's the nice thing about content creation, right? Like, you get to share you and all that you do, and it inspires people.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Did you make this?
I sewed the heart on the front of that one. It was
I love those hearts. They've been like vibing in my head, like the Virgin Mary hearts and all that.
Yeah, I find it, I don't know, I've always been drawn to it. I found the imagery really beautiful. I decided to study things about like the Sacred Heart and all that, and I want to keep it as part of my imagery because something I realized was like, so everyone on the internet, especially on social media, puts their best foot forward, their best face forward.
Yeah.
And to some degree, people can settle with liking that people are like, wow, you're so this, you're so that. And when I noticed, I was like, well, what I'm trying to embody with my music is showing all sides of what it means to be human. What it does is it forces me to think outside the box when I notice I'm doing that thing with social media where I'm making it all curated. And I'm like, I really want people to see the nitty gritty underside because vulnerability is really important to me in my work. So
like it embodies like the music that you make. A lot of your lyrics are very vulnerable, very touching,
Well, thank you.
I just love those outfits though too.
That was a fun one. That one I cut the bottom part out from under the skirt so it would be sheer, and then I made that the puff sleeve harness because I realized like I want to wear puff sleeves with everything. So if I just make a harness, I can put them on anything.
I mean, like I could see you doing like a whole show. Just like getting a bunch of mannequins, the way they do like a Christian Dior show up in New York.
I love Christian
and
Dior.
You can just walk around your garments and just really look at them closely and look at this dress. Did you make that?
I did, that was one of the funnest ones I made. I did that for Rockledge Gardens, the Space Swap show we did,
Like,
New Moon and Bloom.
How many outfits of these do you think you have?
Oh, I've already counted. I have about 30 that I've made. Yeah, and that's just the ones I've made. Like that does include things I've tailored in my wardrobe.
You need to like showcase them. Would you ever like sell them, or like what do you do with them? You're just gonna keep them like in an archive?
So that's a good point. Don't have a lot of space, and because I did notice I was kind of running low on it, there's two methods I'm moving forward with my creation of my pieces. One is that I make pieces that are now versatile. They need to be able to be like stuff I can wear, like the mint dress is actually 2 pieces, so then I can wear just the top or just the bottom, so then it doesn't, because together they can look kind of crazy if I wear that in public and not do a show.
Right.
But if I just make the other option would really like to do is I want to collaborate with other designers, so then I'm not only just wearing my stuff, because my wardrobe will fill up really fast, but if I can collaborate with other designers, then I'm happy to showcase their piece, and I will give them a shout out or something if they want me to wear their thing. And then I'm also collaborating not just with the music community but the fashion community. So that's kind of something I have in mind.
Do you think there's a fashion community here?
I've heard that people want there to be one. Like they want to build one up. I've heard just the little rumors, things like that.
That would be great. But I think you should pioneer that. I think you need to do a show. I think you need people to see, and like, because there's a small, tiny community where people like to sew.
Yeah.
They like to create. I think after I met you, I took the leap forward. I was like, I met you in the back. We were doing your music video.
Yeah.
And I was like asking you about your clothes. And you said it started with cosplay?
It did. When I was 11 years old, I made my first cosplay outfit. And then, because my grandma's taught me how to sew. And
Okay. So you had some skill passed down to you.
Yeah, it was really crappy skill at the beginning. When I was 11 and made my first costume, I was like, I was happy to jump into something even if I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I think what really helped solidify it for me was I went to something called FX Show. It was like when MegaCon was kind of early, there was another one trying to start up called FX Show.
Okay.
And I think I went to that and I dressed as Mitoko from Love Hina, and because they were so impressed that I was so young and had made my own outfit, they helped me move on to chose me to go on to the finals round.
Oh, it was like a contest?
Yeah, and I went to the Hard Rock Cafe in Orlando. My dad and my sister went out there to support me, and I actually met like the guy who plays Freddy Krueger and someone from Harry Potter. We have it all in video.
Cool.
The girl from Firefly, the main lady, I don't remember her name.
Firefly.
They also made a movie called Serenity afterwards. Firefly was like a TV show. It was like in the early 2000s. Okay. But yeah, it was, I didn't know who any of these actors were, so I was like one of the only people not freaking out.
Yeah. You were like, hey, man, what's
up? I just talked to them
that
like
was
they
probably
were
refreshing for them.
Yeah, everyone else behind the stage was like freaking out. They're like, oh my gosh, it's these people. I'm like, I don't know who these people are. So I think that gave me a boost to be like confident to keep doing it.
Yeah, totally. Did you grow up here in Melbourne?
Not at first. From the age of 11 on, I did, but
okay.
But before then, I lived all up and down the coast. Like I lived in Pennsylvania and North Carolina and Virginia. So
how did you land here?
My dad lives here, so when I came to live with my dad, I was like, cool. I always liked Florida. I'm happy to stay here. Like, I don't want to move around.
What school did you go to?
West Side at first, if we're talking elementary, and then Southwest and Bayside.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
It was public school. I mean,
I know.
I was unrecognizable then because I thought I was an introvert. So I had no fashion sense.
Really?
I had like bangs that would cover up my face, and like someone actually mistaken me for a boy because I'd wear oversized T-shirts and cargo pants. Like, it's like, yeah. So I had no fashion sense back then.
What happened? Like how the transformation?
I think part of it was because I admired my dad. My dad kind of raised me, so I mirrored his fashion sense and stuff.
He had fashion sense?
No, I'm thinking like that's why I dressed like a boy. And then when I became older, I was like, I'm missing
That's
my
funny.
femininity. And so I like dove into a Japanese street fashion that's called Lolita. It has nothing to do with the book,
Okay.
but it's sort of like a overly hyper feminine, cute dolly fashion. It's very suitable for a lot of people of different ethnicities. Like a lot of like Muslim women like it because you can like it involves
It
you
covered.
being fully be covered.
Oh, really? Just very
Yeah.
frilly.
Yeah, but yeah, you can wear like a cute dress and like cute wigs, and so that like really helped me once I like basically pushed myself into hyper femininity. I've now cranked it back and I've chosen my own like preferred version. But
Yeah, but it's still feminine. Can I ask what happened with your mom? Like,
so she basically my parents like they got divorced when I was a kid.
yeah.
I lived my first half of my life with her. It was kind of rough. I lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
Yeah, like the
Like
sheer
a real
fact-
farm.
Yeah, like we were so close to the Amish country. We literally saw a horse-drawn carriage go down the street
Oh,
where I
that's
lived.
cool.
So yeah, we were like think like the movie Signs, like where it's like the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, so like very secluded.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk to the Amish or no? They were secluded too.
Yeah, not really. Like the one time they passed by, I was like, "Hey," because I'm obsessed with horses. So when I saw the horse, I was like, "I need
But
to
it was
say
like
hi."
normal schooling and everything.
Yeah, I went to I went to several different schools when I was a kid, so I don't even remember all of them or
Okay.
the names.
Yeah, yeah. You
But
never landed.
yeah, it wasn't a great situation when I was a kid. I kind of had I had a pretty rough childhood until I came to live with my dad.
Okay,
I can say now happily that everything is much better with both my parents.
that's good.
Yeah, like I could not foresee that. Like I'm very happy that
Yeah.
that's
My parents
yeah.
are divorced too, and it does take a lot of soul searching to
Yeah.
sort of forgive, the party that made things maybe a little heavier than they needed to be,
Yeah.
right?
I think I recognized something beautiful. I recognized when I started meditating a lot during I think it started during COVID, like 2020.
Yeah.
It just kind of clicked where I was like, so both my parents, the only things they have in common that kind of glued them together was they both made art together and they both loved music. And that's me.
Yeah. Aw, it is you.
And me loving myself was me reconciling the differences of my parents, something they could never do.
yeah.
So that was something where it clicked where I was like, oh, like it's a really courageous act for me to love myself, because that's something that literally I've not had no modeling.
Yeah.
So it was just this beautiful thing where I was like, wow, it also made sense why it's been so hard to choose between the two. I'm like, do I want to do the art? Do I want to do the music? I'm like, they both represent
both
halves
you.
of me. Yeah.
Yeah. So your dad, they were both artists. To what
Yeah.
medium?
So my dad did comics early on.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, my mom did watercolor illustration, and she also wrote stories. And she actually dived in and did the comics with him for a little while when they were married.
Yeah.
But she kind of went off more so with stories and music. And then my dad always he didn't get into music, but he has a lot of music, and he's a collector.
Appreciation. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
And then you say you have a sister.
I have 3 sisters.
3 sisters. Are they all here?
No, they're all over
Scattered.
Yeah, they were all up in one state together, and now they've kind of moved around. And
Are you the youngest or the oldest? Middle child.
yeah.
Middle child. Do you have the
Yeah.
middle child syndrome?
Definitely, that's why that's why I have turned my attention seeking into good by making music, and as one does.
That's so inspirational. It's a
Thank you.
struggle. So
Yeah.
for you to continue to do it, props to you.
Yeah.
What about these masks here?
Oh, so the mask is that's made by a specific designer that I've been following on Instagram for a long time. I think I tagged her in it. She's got a very hard to pronounce name. I love the mask.
Yeah.
And the great thing is they're called blind masks, because actually
Oh, they've got no holes?
no, you can see through them. That's why I wanted it, because I was like, I'm going to perform in this at some point.
Wow.
Yeah. And they look great in photo shoots because they're doing most of the work because they're so intricate.
Well, yeah. Yes.
So yeah, I got that as a Christmas present, and I've just been dying to use it for a gig. But I did get to use it at the fashion show thing with Derek, so I got to test that when I walked on stage. I didn't fall, so I'm good.
What do your siblings think of your art?
They've all been under the impression that I would always be like successful one day and all these things. They've been always very supportive.
Oh,
like
that's good.
They could see things in me before I could. They're like, Kim, you're model-esque and all this other stuff.
So they like supported you.
We used to all watch America's Next Top Model together, like for years. And so, yeah, and I didn't see it. I often was like, yeah, no, whatever. Because I didn't get into modeling until I was 27. So
oh, wow. Okay.
it was like only a few years ago that I decided, yeah, I'm going to do it. But so this is me trying to like honor what everyone else has seen in me as well.
Yeah.
So.
It sounds like you've made some leaps along the way, you know, from just like, yeah, accepting yourself, wanting to shape yourself into the, you know, whatever was missing in your life. And now here you are.
It started with my sister, actually. My oldest sister was big into photography, or she is. She likes photography.
So she's got the artsy bug.
Yeah, she's also extremely good natural classical pianist. She doesn't do it professionally. She just does it for fun. And I remember we would go out and do photo shoots and like just around town.
Yeah.
And she would look at me and like, I'd be making a pretty, like whatever, just be chilling. And she'd be like, that's a perfect face. And then I'd make an ugly face like last minute. And she'd be like, don't do that. She's like, you don't see how pretty you are. Like you don't see. And so ever since she said that, like, I've really got to know a lot of other photographers, and something I really love is that I've learned that it's not just me. A photographer can't help but impose their vision of their subject on their subject.
Yeah.
So it's great because then like what I can end up seeing is other people's perspectives of me that I can't see. So it's this beautiful thing where like I couldn't do it alone.
Cool. Yeah. Do you have favorite photographers in town that you work with?
Yes. I do. I've worked with, so I have a friend, Steph. I believe hers is Cosmic Capture.
Yeah.
And
that's who we worked with. Yeah.
She's great.
She's still working with her.
Yeah, she did the photos for Rockledge Gardens.
Oh, wonderful.
And her work is just very like, her vision's really, it's just really like, she can take things to a level that I really enjoy, which is more like,
yeah,
she's
it's
very
soft. It's pretty.
Yeah, soft, pretty, very artistic. She's like, let's do some odd things. Like,
yeah, it's also
shapes.
like surreal. Yeah, she did a really good job.
Yeah. My other favorite is Cooper Photo. His work is very dynamic and bold. So most of my stuff where I see myself in a more dynamic, bold, kind of sexy way is like that's his work, and
cool.
It's been great. Like we even started playing around with a video. So that one of the videos I have on my page that I did around Halloween, where I've got the red dress on, where it's like kind of slow mo, where it's had like my hands on my back. That was just like a video test we did, and I love how that came out. So yeah, those are
so cool. All right, so 2024, you're gonna stick to your music, but you were saying you're still gonna incorporate the fashion.
Yeah.
Do you see something like putting on a show where like all your garments are on display?
I'll say that it's definitely something I've thought about, and no promises, but it might be something that happens.
I would go to that.
The details, are something that I'd be looking into to really make it happen. But I do feel like I've got a lot of people I've talked to that are very interested in wanting to do that as well, and so like it's one of those things where it's we'll see.
Yeah,
like, I'll leave it.
See.
Yeah.
How's your relationship with Space Swap going to move forward now that they are closing up shop? I know they're not totally going away, but yeah.
So it was interesting when I first heard about it. I was like sad.
Yeah.
And
she always puts like a positive spin on things.
Yes.
And she's not going anywhere.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
We need to have her on the show too. She's like a force.
Definitely, for sure. I was sad at first, and then I noticed something really interesting, actually. I noticed that I was excited.
Really?
And I thought that was strange, but then I thought what it was as things were falling into place, I thought, well, the something I get sad about with the way that the shop is now is that there's so many events, I can't go to all of them. And so before, when there was less events, I could go to all of them. So I personally don't mind if Spacewalk goes back to being sort of like however they choose to structure it, if it's more of like
a pop-up.
Yeah, because event planning is what they're best at anyway. And so I'm excited to see new places they'll go. Maybe they'll like maybe it can even expand outside of just this area.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah, for them to just be able to, because you're right. I never really thought about it that way. But yeah, they had a knack for just creating these really original events.
Yeah, and they would get like a lot of buzz because they had a lot of time like between each one. It was like 3 or 4 months at least between each event. So then
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh,
It was quite
I
a
thought
while.
it was like very back to back. It seems like they were always up to something.
They are now. Yeah, for the last like since they have had the shop, it's like very back to back, which is awesome. It's like why not? If we have this, like that's how I look at it. I'm like I used to own a shop and I get what it's like. It's like where it's like how many things can we do? What can we
do with the
know?
space? Like how?
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's like
You had a shop?
I did. Yeah. Well, when I owned a dress business for 4 years, when I was in the Lolita fashion thing, where I was talking about the Japanese street fashion,
Yeah.
I owned a dress shop where I had my own original designs.
Here in Melbourne?
No, I did it in Tampa and Oldsmar.
Oh.
Yeah, and we had I had clothing in from Japan on consignment, and so
How did you do that? How did you find
my business partner, she was really good at like she
sourcing it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, how fun.
It was great. We had girls coming down from like other states just to see it because you couldn't get that kind of fashion unless you went to New York or California or Texas.
Yeah.
So we were the only thing on this coast that had it.
Yes.
So, and I had my shop for like, it was only like 6 months. It was a very short amount of time as well.
Really? It just, there wasn't enough? I mean, you were...
It was like breaking even. Yeah. So they were like, we can't.
Why's it got to be that way?
I know.
I feel like there would be so many cooler things around if they were able to sustain. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a conundrum.
Yeah.
Speaking of words, how do you come up with your lyrics?
Ooh,
'Cause
okay.
you said the art of playing with words is something that you wouldn't mind chatting about.
Yeah. So the way that I make my lyrics is a little different, I think. I've noticed that I'm not just a musician. And I'm not just a comicer. I'm the thing that ties the two together.
Yeah.
Is I'm a storyteller.
Yes.
So I really can't write a song unless I'm telling some kind of story. And so what I do is I usually tell a mini story with each song, and then the EP, which is usually 4 songs I drop for the whole year, that's an overarching narrative. So they'll all tie together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I didn't know you were doing that.
Yeah.
It's like methodical. And then it's also like gives you, a stopping point in each song. You already have something to build on. So what theme was this past one?
So this year I called the EP Slow Wave.
Slow Wave.
And that's named after like, so that's the brain state that like when you get into it's really deep and it's like good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of kids are in that, like if you go and like,
Right. And you're in that for the first 10 minutes of waking.
No, it's like the one where you're like, like when you see a kid and you're like, oh, she's out. Like you could be vacuuming and they won't wake up.
Yeah.
That's slow wave.
Oh.
Yeah. When we get older, we don't get as much of it. So I know it's like something that I like miss where I'm like, oh, like it's a thing that we need to value when we have it.
Yeah.
And also I'm a lucid dreamer. So I'm just like me and like dreaming is like, I spend like half my life sleeping. I like sleep for 12 hours. So I'm like.
Are you always lucid dreaming?
Yeah. Always. Like I remember all of my dreams. I write long, like huge paragraphs
When
of
did
detail.
that start?
I remember my first time I had it, I was like 4 or 5. I fell into a giant toilet in my dream. It was terrifying.
And then you knew you were dreaming.
Yeah, I kind of, when I was a kid, I did, once I woke up, I was like, yeah, giant toilet clearly wasn't real. But yeah, it was one of those things where like I've gotten so good at it, I can kind of start to figure out what's like how to set off the lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
And then when I do, it's really funny. My brain doesn't, it's like the movie Inception. It doesn't want me to know. So it'll start like messing stuff up.
Have you tried to look at a clock?
Yeah, I actually can read books and stuff in dreams, and I can remember strings of numbers. Most people can't.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so things don't always shift. They only shift sometimes. So
do you ever find like messages or like what do you conclude with this ability? Because I read the like Robert Monroe books and stuff, and it was fascinating when he described the astral projection, like he was able to like pinch his friend.
Yeah.
Have you read that book?
No, but I've astral projected.
Tell me about that.
So interestingly, it has a tie-in with Somber Mercy. Well, the name Somber Mercy came to me in a dream. So
Okay.
so I couldn't astral project really until like after I had one of my last big health scares, and I'd been hospitalized, and it was pretty bad. I was in and out a lot.
Was that recently?
That was back in 2019.
Okay.
So nothing kicks you in the butt to say do your music than a near-death experience.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what COVID did to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It was like, you never know when a pandemic's coming. You better get off your ass and wake up, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I wrote Palingenesis about that because specifically I'm like, I need something empowering for people to realize you can go through something tough and come out of it.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the first time I had the experience, I was just like a regular night of sleeping, but I had this vision where I was laying on the bottom of a hill, like a grassy hill, in a field, and there was like three like black cloaked people around me, and whatever they were doing, I couldn't move. Like I've like kind of like when you get sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
And I just remember looking over the hill and seeing like what looked like a blue, like electrified outline of a person, like kind of like slowly strolling towards me. And I just had this absolute feeling of terror come over me. Like, and all I could think was like, I'm not ready to like leave this life yet. Like it kind of felt like that was my next, like me or whatever, or like,
were you in
something?
the hospital when this dream happened?
No, this was
Okay.
like kind of like a weird forewarning that I was going to
get
have
sick.
a situation where have no control. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the song that was playing and I don't usually hear music in my dreams, was I Can't See You in the Dark by Ray Brown. And so I just ran with that. I actually that was my year of shadow work. That I noticed. So like a lot of people, when they look at my profile, the darker imagery I have is it comes from me studying Carl Jung and shadow work. It is not like some people think. Like I've had to clarify, like I'm not an occultist. I don't worship demons.
Okay.
I just want to play with the ideas of like everyone has light and dark elements. We all have the angel and the devil on our shoulders.
Right. But yeah, it has been a little bit somber.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll do music that's light someday, in contrast? Kind of like the way that you went from your dad's fashion to this feminine.
Yeah, I think because it's really important to me to like embody the idea of like the world isn't black and white. Like we're kind of all of these things.
Yeah.
I would say my first EP, Heartbreak Breakthrough, was a kind of a mix of those things. Urania was like the lightest song I did.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that everyone loved it because I wrote it from a place of joy, and a lot of people do write music from a place of pain.
Yeah.
And I get it, that's easy. But I was like, what would happen if I wrote something from a place of joy? And I just love that it popped off as a result and it resonated with people.
Yeah.
So Slow Wave, this year's EP, was all rock music. It's more the heavy emotions. And then next year, actually, yes, it's all going to be, I don't have a name for it yet, but it's all going to be like ambient. It's exploratory of more light themes. It's going to be very soft stuff because I sing so many like vocally intense songs. I realized I'm like, I need to mix some soft things in. Yeah, Slow Wave was very intense.
Yeah. It was very intense. And you had you paired up with someone.
Yes,
What was his name?
Hess. Yeah,
Josh Haas.
Yeah.
Haas. He goes by Wild Zest.
Yeah, so not only am I doing Aionic Media with him, but he also does music. So we're under the name Wild Zest, and yeah, we wrote that song earlier this year. And he's just very vocally talented and a good complementary. Like I love duetting with people, so it was fun to explore that because I don't have a lot of duets, and I want to do that more.
Yeah, I liked that balance. It was like a familiar but like cool.
Oh, thank you.
Are you still working at Monkey Bar?
I am, yeah, currently. Yeah, I do bingo there just one night a week.
Really? What night can we find you there?
It'll be, I do it every Wednesday, 8 to 10 p.m.
Oh my goodness. Get lucky.
Yeah. I'm so used to saying it. I'm like, I can put on the bingo voice.
The bingo voice. I thought you were doing like karaoke there, though.
I turn it into karaoke.
Oh, you do?
Because I'm like, okay, for 30 seconds, we can all sing along. Like, it makes me unique as a host.
That's fun.
I can't help myself. I'm like, I would do better probably doing karaoke hosting, but if I can do musical bingo, I'm like, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that. So
It works. Yeah.
Yeah.
That does sound like fun.
Yeah.
Cool. So you were telling me how you write your lyrics.
Yes.
Are you able to like write it on the fly?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
So I
that's
was
a great
gonna play
question.
a game for you if I gave you a word.
Oh.
Like, or
And if you had like a beat or something.
I don't know. Like, what do you mean by playing with the art of playing with words?
Okay. So there's two ways. There's double entendres, and that's something I really enjoy, but there's also hermeneutics.
Oh,
So
tell me about that.
So double entendres is like, I like to add layers in my music. So an example would be in the song The Sound. The name The Sound is the name of a beach in North Carolina, but also it's the sound as in music.
Yeah.
See how like people get lit up when they go, oh, it means two things.
Yeah. It gives you like a dopamine hit or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So with the sound, I did it a lot. I had a lot of ocean entendres. So I said I curl up safe and sound in my shell. And when everything's around, or I see it swell. So that's that idea of like, often like we can feel like everything is good around us.
Yeah.
Or other people would say things are swell, but I see it swell, meaning things are swelling up inside.
Yeah, yeah.
The same way like the ocean swells right before it crashes.
Oh my gosh. How long did it take you to write that? Just those two lines?
I wrote that one actually on the beach. That one actually flowed out pretty well, like
Yeah.
pretty easily. They don't always flow out. Usually what happens is my writing process is I'll just brain dump my emotions first. And usually it's kind of like the most basic language you can think of. And then I start taking those concepts and then I start turning them into entendres where I find ways to play with the words.
Yeah.
Like create more poetic ways of saying the same thing.
Cool. Did you start out with poetry?
No, I actually was never really considered myself like a poet, but for some weird reason, like I think what it is I would say it's like lyrics are my specialty, and they are, but I think I noticed I kind of like I've always liked like rap battles and like stuff like that. And my sister and I used to kind of joke about like that, and then I developed that out more in 2020. There wasn't much to do, so yeah, there was some.
Do you think you could rap battle? You mean you developed your rap battle skills?
So for me to process my emotions, I noticed I would write out bars, and then I just didn't really do anything with it. But then I will say, so there's music I release to the public, and then there's music that I just make for me to get my emotions out.
Mm-hmm.
And I did actually I wrote 2 songs that I actually rapped.
You did?
I did, and the reason why is because I knew I was like, I'll never release a song where I rap because I'm not good at rapping.
I want to hear it. Oh, go.
Oh no.
Jesse put you on the spot.
Oh, okay. I can pull some of my lines that I did for one of my songs. Okay. Getting angry feels silly cause it gives me the willies, but don't mistaken that for my heart being chilly cause it's warm in here. Are you smelling the fear? It's a black dog barking at a squirrel that's near.
Wow.
I had to pull it from memory. I couldn't do it on the fly.
Well
but
done.
That was for I wrote a song.
Hilarious.
Some people think they'll say when they first see me, they'll be like, yeah, you look like a bad bitch. Like that's what they'll say. I don't know if I can curse on here. If you need to bleep that out.
No.
Okay.
That's fine.
So they'll be like, yeah, I see you. You look like a bad bitch. And then they're like, and then I talk to you and you're like the sweetest
Yeah.
person. And so I wrote a whole song where I'm like, am I not a bad enough bitch? Like, I know, but I made like a bunch of dog puns, like where I say double entendres.
Yeah.
I made a lot of dog jokes.
So that's
in it.
been recorded, just not released.
Yeah, like it's been professionally recorded because my friend is like really good at professionally recording. So it's really funny that I just sit on this song where I'm like, yeah, it's in the catalog.
That. You must release that.
Maybe I'll do an April Fool's show, and that's the only time I'll play it.
Do it. You gotta let us know though.
It's kind of hilarious. It's got like Lonely Island vibes where like, cause I'm not, like I said, I'm not.
I know, but
a rapper.
I love that though. I need to hear it.
It's actually, that's what frustrates me. I'm like, it's some of my best work. I'm like, is it, or is it just really profound to me? So I think it's my best. You know?
Oh my gosh. We have to hear it. We have to hear it. We have to release it. It was great talking to you. We hope to have you back.
Yeah, I'd love
Before
to.
you leave, we always want to ask, is there anybody you can think of that you think is a local celebrity that you would want to nominate to have on the show?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, let me think about that.
And also, while you're thinking, you get a local celebrity t-shirt.
Ooh.
We have tank tops and we have tees, but
Oh,
we will
cool.
gift
I
one to
love that.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah.
It was awesome having you. Please come back whenever you need to
Yeah, I would love to.
say something. I mean, I would like to hear more about your new business venture. Anytime you have something going on, let us know.
Yes, new song dropping. Can You Hear? The one that I'm collaborating with is going to be on January 12th.
January 12th. All right.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
come out and we'll listen for that.
Your pre-save link is up, and so yeah. Okay, local celebrity. I have one.
Okay, tell me.
So she's pretty young, but every time I hear her, it does something to me. I just feel that she's got it.
Yeah.
This would be Nyla Lois.
Oh, definitely. Nyla Lois. You've been nominated.
I love her.
She's
so
great.
good.
Her mother's great too.
Yeah,
They've been
Tracy's great.
collaborating.
I love their collabs. Yeah,
I know.
it's beautiful.
Tracy's great at everything. I just bought some mugs from her this holiday season.
Aw.
And I need 2 more, Tracy, because I gave them out as gifts, and I was going to keep one, but I was like, I needed one, and I know you have 2 more. I'm going to buy them from you. All right, cool. Well, thank you, Kim. It was so nice talking to you.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see you again in the new year.
Yes, see you then.
Awesome. Thank you.
To be a sponsor or nominate a guest, hit us up on Instagram at local_celebrity_brevard. Until next time, goodbye.